Alright, hi guys.
Hello.
Logan and Kevin here. And today we're going to be doing one of my favorite, B tier franchises, the Resident Evil movies. Obviously to tie in with the new Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City reboot coming out. But yeah, no, very, very excited for this.
I'm sure. Oh yeah, I forgot that there's a new movie coming out. The one with that actress we spoke about from...
Yeah, the main actress
from Crawl.
The main actress from Crawl.
I always forget names, man. Yeah, that lady. We know who we're on about.
Yeah, I know it is. Just the thing is, I can never remember her name. And then when I look at her name, I remember I can pronounce her first name, but then her surname, I'm always just looking at it.
Like, huh? Excuse me.
What is that? But yeah, no. Just to give you guys some background, I'm a big fan of the Resident Evil movie franchise. I know a lot of people don't like it, and then obviously there's a cult following for it. But no, I've been a very big fan of the series, and then. When we started the podcast, wanted to do at least, even if we don't do all the sequels, as long as we at least do the first one.
Yeah,
just so we have at least one video on this franchise, then that was good. And then obviously when the reboot was coming out, like in November, which obviously when this episode will be out, I was just like, okay, perfect time.
Ideal.
So yeah, so this movie was written and directed by Paul W.S. Anderson, who's a veteran in the video game movie series. He's directed, before this he did Mortal Kombat, the original.
Oh, nice.
I
love those
obviously
movies.
The Resident Evil movies. He did Alien vs. Predator, and he recently did Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter, yes.
Yeah. Original music was by Marco Beltrami and Marilyn Manson. You don't know who I was talking. I was like, we were watching it earlier last night, and I was like, oh yeah, you know Marilyn Manson composed this music, and then Kevin's just like, who the hell's Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, I really don't worry about names, man. I'm sorry. I know faces, so not names.
Yeah, but cinematography by David Johnson, and finally film editing by Alexander Berner.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so.
Your introduction? You covered it now, yeah?
Well, no. I'll go more in depth about my thing, but I think my one's going to be longer, so I think you should just go first.
Alright, cool.
More brief.
Resident Evil, for me, the first encounter is obviously the games. I always saw them on store shelves and in gaming magazines and stuff like that. But I never really caught onto the series. I think they were a little bit before my time as a gamer, because I got consoles very late in life. So, yeah. But I did play Resident Evil 7. I enjoyed that game. It was a bit of a fresh reboot.
We are both fans of Resident Evil 7.
Yes, there's a lot of fans for that game.
I remember in college you and I were just geeking out about Resident Evil 7.
Yeah. Before I could even play it because I didn't have a PC. And, I had a point now about it. I don't know, I just never really got into it. I think it's the same thing with Final Fantasy for me. There's just too many games at this point where I was off-put because I didn't know where to start. I was like, okay, so... but now when... sorry.
No, sorry. Just to quickly add to that, I was just going to say that with Final Fantasy... there are some games series that have sequels, like the 13 series that has sequels, and then the 10 series also has sequels, like 10, and 10-2. But for the most part, every Final Fantasy game is usually just its own self-contained story.
Oh, okay.
So you could pretty much pick up any Final Fantasy game, really.
And start at the beginning, essentially.
Start there, essentially.
Okay, that's cool. Well, I'll maybe pick them up later in life, I guess.
Yeah,
that's good to know.
I guess I was just giving you that tip because you were like, oh, no, there's so many games.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say that, no, it's fine. You can pick up whatever... You can pick up whichever Final Fantasy you desire, play that, and then
I'll be
you're
set.
good. You don't have to worry about
other games. Okay, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, okay.
So I did play Resident Evil 7 because it was a bit of a soft reboot for the franchise, and that got me into it. And I knew the movies existed, but I never really had much desire to watch them. But you suggested it for an episode, so I said, well, you know what? it's time to sit down and watch it. I want to see how they kind of tie into each other. So I wanted to watch it.
Right.
And that's my entire introduction.
Alright, okay.
It's just always been like a background thing for me.
Yeah, no, I get you. So for me, my parents, back on the PS1, my parents had the original Resident Evil trilogy. They had Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. My parents were like big into like the Resident Evil games, but the problem is that I was like a little kid, so they didn't let me. I mean, I caught snippets every now and then. Like every now and then, I would catch snippets of them playing it. But for the most part, when they played Resident Evil, they would tell me, "Okay, it's bedtime for you, Resident Evil time for me." That's basically what my parents always used to do. And then basically. Also, I don't think I'd be able to play it as a kid anyway. Well, I don't know. The problem is that it was tank controls. It was the old like tank controls where like you had to like move with the D-pad, and then you had to, and then like if your character wanted to turn, you had to like it would go like solid, then like turn like a chess piece.
They'd have no animation. They just jank. I get what you mean.
Exactly. And then, so my first Resident Evil game, and the one that I absolutely loved, easily in my top 10 favorite games of all time, is Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4 is badass.
You must know.
I love that game. Yeah, obviously that was the game that was the very controversial Resident Evil game that went away from the I can't remember the term now, but the cutting the fixed camera angles and like the constant changing of the camera angles as you move around the map and everything. And went back to it was the first game to introduce the over the shoulder with
visual third person
camera angle. But yeah, Resident Evil 4 was awesome. I loved Leon. He was my favorite character, and yeah, that was pretty much one of our favorite games. To like the whole family, like my parents and me and my sister, that was our favorite game to play on like the PS2, because like Resident Evil 4 was just awesome. And then we did pick up Resident Evil 5 when that came out, and
that game was it's like universally disliked. I've never played it, but I've seen a lot of it, and even I see it like, oh, what?
Yeah, it's I don't know. The problem is, I don't know. They were very ambitious with that game because they wanted to do a horror movie set during the day, because it's set in Africa and everything.
I know it was controversial for that.
It's got co-op and everything like that, which is cool. I mean, because it's one of the only Resident Evil games that have co-op, which is at least one unique feature. But yeah, I don't know. I never really took to Resident Evil 5. Like I played quite a bit of it. I think I got very far in it, but I got stuck on a boss fight. I was just like, okay, well, I'm done.
A boss fight.
Yeah, and everything like that. So, but yeah, that's not generally the best one. And then, then 6 was terrible, so I skipped that. I played Resident Evil Revelations, the first one. The first one was very good. I haven't played the second one, but the first one was very good because it was back to that survival horror. It was sort of like a soft, like slowly they were going back to the survival horror, and then Resident Evil 7 came out, and then that was full on back. And then I loved Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 was excellent.
Very.
It was a very good game. It's probably my favorite. Okay, well, granted, again, I haven't played a lot of the Resident Evil games, but it's probably my second favorite Resident Evil game. Obviously, my first being Resident Evil 4, but yeah. Yeah. Anyway, and then I still need to play the newer games. Like there's the new remakes of Resident Evil 2 and 3 that I haven't played yet. There's Resident Evil 8 and everything like that. So yeah.
I've heard that the remakes are actually quite short.
Well, the second one is good because the second one you could play as Leon, and you can do a Leon campaign, then a Claire campaign, and then after that you could swap it around, do like different scenarios and that type of thing. Resident Evil 3 is the one that like has basically one short campaign and then that's it. You're done.
Fair enough.
Yeah. But anyway, and then in terms of the movies, I was a big fan of these movies. First one I watched was Extinction, which is the third one, and that one was kind of like where they went into the more post-apocalyptic type of setting, and I really liked the setting of Extinction, because the thing is, at the time I was big into like the first Borderlands game and also Fallout New Vegas, so like that whole desert like Nevada setting, and the fact that the movie's actually set in Nevada in Las Vegas, I was just like, oh yeah, this is awesome. And after that, I watched the rest of the series, and I've just been a long-time fan.
That's
just
cool.
been a really big fan of the series.
Very nice.
But yeah, so what was your first impressions of this movie when you watched it? Like just your initial
interpretation.
Initial interpretation review.
I liked it. I didn't go into it expecting, mind-numbing explosive awesomeness or like plot twists, but I thought it had a nice 2000s nostalgia that I really loved. It was very like cheesy. I hate that word,
especially that techno music that they were playing.
Yeah, dude, they had some epic rave music, and then at the end they got some metal. And
it was so funny. We were busy watching it, and then like at one point I turned to Kevin, and Kevin was just like, he was just popping his head.
I was just vibing, dude. Oh my goodness. I thought it was fun. I like. It wasn't really deep. We knew that going in. It wasn't a particularly
like this series.
Depthy plot.
Before I did say it was a guilty pleasure, but there's a little factoid that I want to bring up. Well, okay, I'll bring it up after this, but that like made me say no, this is not a guilty pleasure. I like these movies, and if people don't like it, then there's the door. But yeah, no, for me these are just like nice, like little. These are just movies where I can switch my brain off, and if I'm like really depressed, I can switch my brain off and I can just watch it and I can just have fun.
Yeah,
just those fun action movies.
It really does have that guilty pleasure vibe to it. I can see it. It's one of those movies that everyone should hate for some reason, but you're just like, this is really cool.
All the movie reviewers I watch hate these films, and like that's why I don't watch the Resident Evil reviews. I'm just like, no, man, not into this.
Especially because I like to give everything their own chance. So even if like critics say something is bad, I prefer to give it a shot and judge for myself, than just accept others' opinions constantly.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like to think that this is still a fun movie.
Yeah, it is a very fun movie. Yeah, it is. But the little factoid that I was going to bring up now was that James Cameron, when it was just after we came out of our confinement because of unspecified virus,
unknown origin.
Yes, when we came out of confinement because of unspecified virus, they were interviewing James Cameron, and they were saying to him like, what have you been doing since you've been stuck at home and everything like that. And he said he's been watching a lot. He's been going back and watching a lot of his favorite movies and everything. And then he actually started the first He actually mentioned the first Resident Evil movie, and he said that for him it's a complete guilty pleasure. Like he loves the first Resident Evil movie. So for me, I'm kind of just going like, okay. James Cameron said it's a guilty pleasure. James Cameron enjoys it, so I'm not apologizing anymore.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't, man. Never apologize for what you like.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really, really great. I'm glad that you. I don't want to say you've come out. That's horrible. But I'm glad that you're so open about admitting that you like it. That's good because you don't take on that hive mind personality like I want to like it, but the society says I shouldn't.
It's a hive mind thing, but also like the fact that there's my film buff, like film critic, cynic trying to break out, and he's just going like I need to critique this movie, and then my brain is just like nope, you are in the back, my man. You can stay in the closet. I'm watching this movie. You can come out afterwards.
Yeah, no, I also get that you're the cynical one between us apparently. So I'm glad that you told your alter ego like, hey, calm yourself. You can come back after this guilty pleasure.
Exactly. Yeah, because I think out of the two of us, you're the more. Okay, well, obviously, I don't mean this like in an insulting or a
no, that's
way or
fine.
Anything like that. Just so that people don't misinterpret what I'm saying. But basically, I feel like you're the more, especially when we look at whenever we meet up to film episodes and we have our picks and everything, you're the more casual moviegoer. The guy who has a lot of these like films that like critics would just tear apart. Like when we did Anaconda and Lake Placid recently, there was that. And then I'm the more like I'm usually the one who's bringing up these high art films.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
That. And then I feel this is the one time when I'm bringing in the casual movie that like everybody, the roles are reversed a bit now.
A little bit here. No, I understand. That's cool. Good interpretation, observation rather.
But, yeah. Okay, so what I was gonna say is that so this movie loosely adapts the first thing. I think that's also the problem with this series, that diehard fans of video games hate these movies because the main characters from the video games kind of get pushed to the side. I mean, you do see they do pop up as the series goes on, like for cameos and stuff, and some of them have bigger roles than others. But that's why a lot of people think it's like, where's Leon? Where's Claire? Where's Jill? Who's this chick? That's basically what they're saying. But Paul W.S. Anderson at the time when it was filming, because I was watching a retrospective video. This one YouTuber I watch, Oliver Harper. He's very good. I recommend him to you guys. But he was saying that Paul W.S. Anderson at the time was saying that that no, the problem is if we just do a shot for shot, beat by beat recreation of the game, there's not going to be any surprises for the people who've played the games, you know.
That's actually a fair argument. You'd want them to go into it expecting, okay, not a whole remake, but little subtle changes, just to keep it fresh.
Yeah, but the thing is, fans do not like it.
No.
They do not like it when you change things. They want it exactly 100% the same.
Dude, they even want the loading screens during film breaks.
The loading screens, and when the main characters, when they're having downtime, there has to be like some save room music playing.
The characters have their what the heck happened to my brain there? They have those animations where if you leave them and they go idle, they sort of, fiddle or play around or do something like that. They want those.
I wouldn't mind some save room music. The Resident Evil save room music is very awesome. Like, I actually have, because out of all the ambient music, I've spoken about before, but I listen to a lot of like ambient music when I'm working, and I have a bunch of playlists of like all the Resident Evil game save room themes, all of those things, and they just play one after the other, and it's so relaxing.
It is nice, yeah.
Yeah, I've even got the this one track I listened to. Because in Resident Evil 4 there's two tracks. There's the save room theme, and then there's the one where you go, there's this merchant that you buy your guns from, and he's like such a chilled guy. He's like one of the great video game characters of all time. And then they play this track whenever you're buying stuff from him, and that track is awesome. And I have this 1 hour long track that I listen to where it's got that, and it's also got like rain and thunder sounds in the background. It's awesome.
That's pretty cool. Nice. Yeah, there's something magical about game soundtracks that are undervalued.
But what I was going to say is that, he didn't follow the story. People didn't like that. And now with the new reboot, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, which is a very long title, but with that one, they're going to focus on the actual characters from the game. It's going to be all about Jill and Chris and Claire and Leon and all those characters and everything like that. And, I mean, I'm glad to see Leon, because I love Leon.
Yeah, I know, you're a big fanboy for Leon.
But yeah, I still need to play the Resident Evil. I really want to play the Resident Evil 2 remake, so I can get Claire and Leon's story, because I've heard Resident Evil 2 is, like, one of the best... in the Resident Evil, series, Resident Evil 2 is one of the greats.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's one of the greats, so yeah. But anyway, so this movie follows Alice and her, we start down in this office building, and at first you just think it's a regular old office building, skyscraper building, people just going about their day and everything. There's one guy walking with his cup of coffee, and then some guy in a leather jacket comes. We'll get back to the guy in the leather jacket, but he comes crashing into him, and then he spills coffee on his shirt. He's like, "Thank you." Basically.
Yeah, he gets so salty, which is understandable. I'd also be salty.
But yeah, basically he gets into an elevator, and then we also get cuts to shots of somebody messing around these vials and taking these these different chemicals, everything. There's 2 vials. There's a green vial and a blue vial, and basically they throw down this vial onto the ground, and then it sets off some sort of airborne virus, and then everyone starts going crazy. These people get stuck in the elevator. They try to get out. The one girl slips through the elevator door like that, and then her head slams into the thing. You were very sad.
I was like, no,
she was cute. Yeah, but basically, and then all hell breaks loose. Then we cut to this mansion. We found obviously Alice, played by Mila Jovovich. She's lying in the shower because she fell, and then she can't remember where she is or what happened or anything like that. And then this security team, this umbrella SWAT team jumps in, and then they want a report from her, and then they reveal that no, she has amnesia because of the gas or whatever. And then very quickly they reveal that no, that this is because it's the Yeah, it's a Spencer Mansion. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called the Spencer Mansion. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that's what it is, but if I'm getting it wrong, Resident Evil fans will be commenting, thinking, it's not, it's this name! You're getting it right! But yeah, the Spencer Mansion. And basically, the Spencer Mansion is actually just a cover story, and then, like, Alice and, like, this other guy, they have, like, a marriage, but their marriage is, like, fake, basically, to keep it. And then underneath is this whole, like, underground umbrella core facility, everything where people are working and everything. And they got these, like, fake, I don't know, live streams of, like, you know, on the windows, just to make it look like, you know, the outside is actually like a city or whatever like that, so just to keep the people sane or whatever.
Yeah, that's actually a good thing to do. You're underground, you get so claustrophobic, dude.
Yeah, exactly.
It's scary how much you think it actually, like, oh, it wouldn't affect me. No, it's just a normal corridor. But when you click how far under you are, you start to freak out.
Exactly. So yeah, that's pretty much how what happens. And then the security team, they're going to go down and basically find out, because the Red Queen, who's basically the AI that controls the underground facility and everything.
That's Cortana.
She basically has gone homicidal and is like, you know, activating security measures against all the employees and everything. So they're going to go down and find out what's going on and everything. And basically they continue. They continue on. They go into this, like, they're going to get into her server room so they can set off this EMP bomb so they can deactivate her. And there's like this, like, sort of like this, like, light room, and then these lasers start, because a bunch of the, like, 4 of the security guys and also the captain or whatever, or I'm not sure what his rank is, but basically the leader of the group. They go into this laser room, and then these lasers start coming out and start, like, chopping these people in half and everything like that. And then the captain, he's able to basically dodge a few of the lasers, but then this one, like, grid thing comes, and then he can't escape it, and then, like, it just skips right past him.
Yeah, shame, that poor guy. He was so ready to, like, you know, dive or do whatever he had to dodge, and then suddenly it, like, turned and multiplied.
I think when the laser grid was coming to, he was like, oh shit.
Yeah, he just had that moment where he's like, he had District 9 eyes. There's a lot of things in District 9.
Exactly. Yeah.
Shame. That guy, he didn't deserve to die.
Yeah, but I haven't played the previous. I haven't played, obviously, the older Resident Evil games yet. Okay, I have played the remake of the first game, the RE1 remake. So I have played that at least. But I haven't played, like, the earlier games, so I'm not sure if that comes up. But those lasers are actually from Resident Evil 4. The Resident Evil 4, I think, I'm pretty sure came out after this, because this was 2002 and Resident Evil 4 was in 2004. So So I'm not sure if like, you know, the developers watched the movie and said, hey, you know, that's a good idea, or if it was actually from the earlier Resident Evil games again. You know, I stand to be corrected. But yeah, those lasers come at you when you're playing as Leon, and then because Resident Evil 4, and obviously at the time this was like revolutionary. People were like, oh my gosh! But now people are like sick and tired of it. They're just like, stop putting these in games now. Is the quick time events?
Yeah,
where you have to, like, push the buttons and you have to, like, you know, get your character can dodge everything.
That happens in Tomb Raider, the 2013 one, doesn't it?
Yeah,
when there's that rock slide, you have to, like, dodge left and right.
Yeah, there's a bunch of quick time events.
Something similar.
But yeah, Resident Evil 4 was one of the first big games to really implement that, and then there was, like, this quick time event where you had to, like, dodge these, like, lasers and everything like that. Yeah, Resident Evil 4 had a lot of quick time events, and you would, like, often. The problem is, I understand why it's there, because the developers want to make sure that you actually paid attention. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, instead of just being like a cinematic sort of cutscene and then you zone out. They kept you on the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine though. Like, a lot of QTEs these days, they get a lot of shite, but sometimes they're good to have.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you short.
No, that's fine. It's fine. But yeah, basically the laser goes off. They shut down the red. What was it? The Red Queen.
The Red Queen.
Yeah, the Red Queen. And then
what an unusual name.
And then there's exactly. Is there a Blue Queen? Is there a Green Queen? Green Queen?
You know.
Yeah. But then, funny enough, there's and then we get the iconic line from the Red Queen. That's like, you know, kind of pops up here and again in the series where it's like, "You're all going to die down here."
Yeah, dude. Sorry. I was just thinking about that line. I was like, "There's something weird about that line." And okay, good thing it's a frequent occurrence.
Yeah, it pops up because the Red Queen, she's not confined to just this movie. She pops up throughout the series, and then almost every time she shows up, she always goes like, "You're all going to die down here." Then Alice is always like, whatever. I've heard that like a million times now. Like,
Exactly.
And I'm still alive. So.
Go outside, little girl. Get some sunlight.
Go outside.
Put your iPhone down.
But anyway, so basically, then when they activate the EMP bomb and obviously shut down the Red Queen, that's when all of the cells, all of like the experimental, because I know these like experimental cells where all these zombies are kept inside. Obviously, these like bigger creatures are inside there, and then when the power goes off, obviously the door, the electrical locks like turn off, and then the doors open, and then all the zombies come out. And then I was saying to you, like, the future we're gonna have. They want to have electrical locks. And I'm like, no, like I don't want electrical locks.
Have you seen Resident Evil? I mean, imagine here in this country.
Yeah.
If we had midnight load shedding and suddenly your whole house is open.
Yeah. All the prison cells all open and all the prisoners get out.
Yeah, no, daily riot. No, thank you. It's not a good idea.
Yeah, not a good idea at all. But yeah, basically, okay. Well, I've talked a bit now. So yeah, so up until this point, how are you enjoying the movie? Did you like it? What did you think of the zombie designs? Obviously.
Yo, dude. Okay,
yeah.
Sorry. Finish your questions. I'll go.
No, sorry. I was just going to quickly add now that, since you and me frequently go on Discord and play Left 4 Dead 2 in co-op on Steam, you and me were watching this, we were going like, oh yeah, this is Left 4 Dead. Oh yeah, if you kill that zombie guy, he's going to drop the axe and you're going to be able to pick it up and pieces of weapon.
Chuck a pipe bomb.
Yeah, chuck a pipe bomb. Molotov cocktail.
I actually, for a second it took me a little while to properly understand what was going on. That's why I asked you when we paused and took our stuff back to the kitchen, like, okay, so to make sure I'm understanding this correctly. And then I sort of explained the first half of the plot to you to make sure I was on the right track. And you're like, yeah. Okay. So, like, they had a lot of very slow burn type scenes, especially with Alice when she first wakes up and she's like wandering around the house. They don't overstay their welcome, but it's a very, very slowly paced type of scene. Like, I don't know why. It's very cool though.
In between the heart pounding action and the terror and running away from all these like giant monsters you don't know how to fight and everything. There is a lot of time, even when you're in the save rooms and they're playing that ambient music while you're busy, transferring items with your storage box, or you're busy trying to solve a puzzle in your inventory and you're busy combining items to try and solve this puzzle and everything. So I definitely appreciated that. And I even showed you, I even said to you, like, when she's like busy opening the drawers and like checking what's in there, then she opens the one drawer, there's like these like two like SMGs in this glass case, and then there's like this code that you have to put in to get the SMGs. I'm like, yeah, that is Resident Evil.
That is,
because a lot of the time there are those weapons that are like stored away, and you got to solve some sort of puzzle to get to them.
Yeah, they taunt you with them first.
So like, they like tease you, like, oh yeah.
Yeah, look what you can have.
Don't you want this? Don't you want this really nice shotgun?
They even let you touch it, but then you can't have it.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, I really want that shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Resident Evil 7 is that one shotgun puzzle.
And then you pick it up and the door locks and
you're just like, oh, I want the shotgun.
Dude, so you have to put it back, and I'm like, game, please leave.
Yeah, I was very disappointing because when I was playing Resident Evil 7 and I was busy being stalked by I can't remember his name, but the father
Jack
in Resident Evil 7, yeah. When I was busy stalking me and he's going like, Ethan, he's doing all that stuff and everything. I was like busy playing. I'm just going like, just wait until I get the shotgun and I blow your freaking head off. And then my sister says, my sister had already played the game. She was on her phone. She's just like, get the shotgun. By the time you get the shotgun, you've already dealt with them. And I'm like, oh well, I'm not gonna get that satisfaction.
Yeah, thank you for ruining that.
Well, no, I wasn't like disappointed at her. I was disappointed at the game. I was like, oh come on, man, I didn't get to blow his face off with a shotgun. Yeah,
but Jack keeps coming back.
Yeah.
Yo, doesn't die, that dude.
Yeah, I know, he never does.
Shall we continue? Sorry, you asked my opinion on like the up to the point so far of the film where they basically go against those lasers and they turn off the
They turn off the thing that first skirmish with the zombies.
The zombie design freaked me out actually, dude. Like some of them, they don't seem to be copy paste sort of generic. They have like clear
visual differences.
Yeah, they're very different aesthetically. Like there's a guy that had, like I think his eye was missing or something like that. They just
like
very
right through his head.
Distorted, and like they actually put me off. I thought, okay, this would be entry level zombie movie stuff, because it was such an old film. So I thought, it won't be that impressive. But when they came around the corner shuffling corpse, I was like, what is that? They actually freaked me out. So I think, one up for the zombie design.
Yeah, exactly, definitely. And then, your girl, Michelle Rodriguez is in this movie.
I love Michelle Rodriguez. She always plays the same type character. She's like a real badass, take no, sort of girl.
Yeah.
I like her. I know, I wish she was given the chance to explore other roles, but I'm not going to deny when she plays a badass female character, she kills it.
Yeah.
Always. So I love that she's goes so hardcore and she fights the infection.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought she survived.
Yeah.
So when she's a walker at the end there, I was like, no. Why?
Yeah, I know, because you're a big fan of the Fast and Furious franchise, so I know that's why Michelle Rodriguez is big for you.
Yeah, no, she plays Letty in those movies. She's badass there. She basically is the same character. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
But she, even after the cure, okay, I know they said it was there was no guarantee it would work, the cure.
Yeah.
There was like a 50-50 kind of chance. So I was like, well, okay, I can take that, I guess. But I thought it would be like more of a suspense thing, like, will she survive? And then she did, and I was like, yes. And then like 30 seconds later, she didn't. I was like,
don't worry. She does pop up again one more time in the series, so that's all I'll say.
Yeah, now watch. You won't tell me which movie, so I have to watch all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
You're evil.
Yeah,
Stroking your cat.
I'm stroking my cat, yeah. But yeah, no. So yeah, up until this point, I'm just really enjoying the movie and everything. There's some visual things I like that Alice wears that red dress. That's actually okay. Her dress, the design of her dress is a bit different to Ada's, but there actually is a reference to Ada from Ada. She's one of the, not one of the main characters, but she is one of the main secondary characters in the Resident Evil game. She's in Resident Evil 2 and she's also in Resident Evil 4 and stuff. She's friends with Leon, and the two of them have sort of a Batman and Catwoman type of romance and everything going on. So yeah, cool. No, she's pretty cool. She also pops up one time in the series as well, which is pretty cool.
Some fan service.
And they did her justice, but yeah.
Nice.
But yeah, no, but in this first movie at the very least, because this was obviously 2 years before Resident Evil 4, so. But she did her dress. She did wear a red dress in Resident Evil 2, but the design of her dress was a bit different. It was more of a mini skirt, compact type of dress. Whereas within the Resident Evil 4, it's more like the sexy, femme fatale type of dress. So
femme fatale.
Yeah. So obviously it was definitely a reference. And I remember when we were playing Resident Evil 4 for the first time, and you first see Ada. Or you first see a glimpse of her, because there's this part where you're in this bedroom, and then there's this big chief village guy. He's one of the big he's one of the big boss fights you have to do, but you don't fight him. You encounter him in the beginning of the game, but you don't fight him till a bit later. But there's this part where he's got Leon in a chokehold, and then he gets shot in the back, but this laser dot sight comes on his back, and then he gets shot a bunch of times by a pistol. And then when you cut, you see a woman in a red dress on the in the window, but you don't see her full face yet. And then she grapples up and everything when he charges at her. And then I remember my mom was like, oh, is that Alice from the movie? And it's oh no, it's Ada from Resident Evil 2.
That's cool.
But yeah, no, definitely. But yeah, no, so yeah, basically they just continue on, and then they've got to basically just fight their way. They got to get back to, because the thing is, they're at the end of the facility, and they got to fight their way to get back to the train, because there's a train that obviously leads down to where this underground facility is. and then they got to get back to the train because they got to get back to the mansion because the problem is there's an auto lock system, and the thing is the lock is going to go off in it's going to lock again in an hour, so they have to get out. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, the only contingency that Umbrella had if there was ever an outbreak was just to contain the virus.
Exactly, keep it there, lockdown.
Keep it there, lockdown. That's the only
surefire way of guaranteeing it won't get out.
Won't get out or spread or whatever.
Make it a sense. I like is the amnesia element part of the games too? The earlier ones?
None of the ones I've played. No.
Oh, okay.
I mean, amnesia, it's having a protagonist that doesn't remember who they are. Okay, having a protagonist who doesn't remember who they are, that is very common in video games, especially like in games like Amnesia, like the actual game series Amnesia and everything. But yeah, that's a common video game trope, so I guess that's also sort of like a throwback to it. But because a lot of video games, you often play as a protagonist who doesn't know who they are or whatever.
That's true. You have to find out who you are.
Find out who you are and everything.
That makes
sense.
It's
a common storytelling tool. So
that amnesia, it was explained. It was part of that gas that they were sprayed with, that knockout gas. Okay.
Because that was part of the Red Queen, the Red Queen's defense systems.
Yeah. What did you think of the Red Queen? She had this attitude about her.
I do like the Red Queen. The Red Queen is pretty cool. She kind of changes throughout the series because in the first one she's like this CG abomination. Then later they actually got like a real little girl actress to play her. And then funny enough, funny fact was
CG abomination.
When you first see it, she's a CG abomination.
Yeah, she really is.
Good lord, this is early 2000s CGI. And that's why when they reactivate her, her display has basically been damaged or whatever. So you just hear her talking to them through the intercoms and stuff. And good, so we don't have to see the CG abomination.
Yeah, that was the ugliest thing in the whole movie.
That's probably what happened. Was they probably completed that CGI, and then the director looked at it oh my gosh, this looks terrible. Okay, we have to cut that out we can have it in the beginning, but we have to cut it out for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Oof.
Yeah.
She's questionable, eh?
Yeah, very questionable, but interesting little
tidbit
and trivia is that Paul W.S. Anderson and Mila Jovovich are actually married.
The director and
the director and the lead star, obviously. This movie is actually where the two of them met for the first time, and then obviously it's become a franchise that the two of them as husband and wife have kind of fostered and everything like that, which is pretty cool. But in the final movie, because Mila Jovovich is her daughter looks just like her, I swear. Wow. I mean, she's still very young. She's I think I'm not sure how old she is. I think she's 10 or I think she's maybe an early teenager or something. I'm not exactly sure what her age is, but she looks just like her mom for one thing, and she's also starting to become an actress now and everything like that. And she's going to be Wendy in the new Peter Pan movie that they're doing for Disney Plus and everything. But yeah, they actually got, because obviously But by the time the last movie came out, she was obviously old enough to act and everything like that. And then in the last movie, they actually got her to play the Red Queen. The voice is still the same, so she probably didn't use a real voice, but they used her for the Red Queen's model and everything like that, which I thought was pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Nice. That's mint. I liked the Red Queen. She's harsh, but she's also. I guess
logical.
I was literally gonna say logical, and I was like, well, it's because it's a PC. Of course it's logical, ones and zeros, yes and no.
Yeah.
So I liked her character. I mean, okay, obviously her protocol was predictable in the sense of she wasn't allowed to let anything out.
Yeah.
But she almost gave off this vibe of a little bit of sentience because she was talking it out and debating, and she made alternate plans.
Yeah, that's why I actually like the Red Queen. The Red Queen's she's a cool AI in this
series. she didn't change sides, but she was willing to meet halfway, which I thought was very interesting.
Because all the bad guys that they meet throughout the series, most of them are just these maniacal evil dudes or whatever. But she's the one villain she's the one antagonist that they encounter throughout the series that you can actually negotiate with, and she's willing to compromise for certain things and everything like that. So that's why I really like the Red Queen. But yeah, then later there's that bit where they're stuck inside that room or whatever, and then they need to they've been locked inside by the guy obviously who's the traitor, which we'll get to, and then they ask the Red Queen to get them out, but then she says that no, Michelle Rodriguez or her character, she's infected. I'm not letting you out until you kill her.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's that whole choice scene, and then I was like saying
that scene was intense, man.
It was intense, and I was like saying like, yeah, this is the point in the video game where you have to make a choice.
It is.
And all the characters are screaming, "You make a choice!"
Yeah, you're like, hold on, I'm thinking.
Yeah, and then what's his face? The guy's part of the squad that's kind of like the tech guy or whatever.
Oh yeah.
He like because the thing is at one point. He got separated from them, and then he has a gun, and he has like one bullet left, and there's like a zombie horde headed towards him. So you think he's going to use the last bullet for himself, but then he doesn't. He uses it to kill one zombie, and he's like, you're going to have to work for your meat, and he's like crawling through the vents and everything, and then he actually does come back later. Then he pushed because because when they reactivate the Red Queen to obviously get her to help them, they got the kill switch, and they said that okay, if you turn on us at any point, we're gonna push this button and kill you. And then he actually pushes the button, and then he opens the door, and he's like, she just wouldn't open the damn door.
Yeah, how did he know that it would open though when he whacked the queen?
Well, because when they push the kill switch and they kill the Red Queen, they cut the power.
Oh yeah, that's right. I was thinking about that.
The doors are all locked based on electricity, so
yeah.
So the door would have opened.
Exactly. Like yeah, no, you're right. I was thinking because it's probably killed the power because he wired it up after the EMP and they plugged it back in.
Yeah.
Yo, like this movie, there's not really a lot to explore, but I really enjoyed it. I thought I like the characters. Like no one was on screen that I was like, please leave. Please just die. Yeah, okay, I'll admit, the IT guy, he really kind of frustrated me in the beginning. He's like, I'm trying. And he just whined and moaned. Yeah. But he had a bit of a redemption because he disappeared for a long time, thankfully.
Yeah, people criticize Paul W.S. Anderson for his writing and his directing and all that type of stuff. Okay, well, obviously not me. I'm just saying, generally in terms of critics and that type of thing. But what I think one thing he does very well is he's good at making characters at the very least somewhat enjoyable to watch and everything like that. And he's very good at just making an entertaining movie. That's just kind of what he's good at when he's writing and directing with his films.
True. Plus, I see he carried this sort of, how Dead Space has that sort of 3D map of the area.
Yeah.
He has that for a lot of his movies. I saw it in AVP first.
Yeah.
Because I saw that first. And then last night in Resident Evil as well, remember he said that you can see us through heat signatures.
Yeah.
And then he has that whole 3D structure that he zooms in on, and he really likes to do that.
Yeah. I will say though, it's just a bit of a tangent, but in video games I hate 3D maps.
So do I.
Give me a 2D hand-drawn map. I'd rather prefer that. Because, I was playing, the new Doom reboots have a 3D map, which is very annoying. And then, me and my friend are big into, the Borderlands series. And then the first two Borderlands games had 2D hand-drawn maps. And then when we were playing Borderlands 3, it was a 3D map. And we were just, the whole time, we were just looking, we just, squinting the map, where are we? How do we get to this top level? What? It's just
it can be disorientating.
It's the worst map ever.
I think worst is 2D maps, but it doesn't turn when you turn. So in other words, it's only you that turns on the map, and then you don't know where you're going. Oh, I hate that.
So you want maps where you can actually rotate it?
Yeah, as you turn,
Yeah. Or with the Dragon Age games, where you're busy when they have when you're in a building that has multiple, or dungeon that has multiple levels. What they usually do is they just have a slider. You slide between each map, and then there's a map for each floor.
Yeah.
So that you can easily read where you are, where you need to go, and everything like that. But with this 3D map and multiple levels, and I hate it.
Let it go.
Exactly. If you ever play Borderlands 3 on PC, I'm gonna download a mod that gives you a 2D map or something.
I'm surprised that the liquor things actually, it is a liquor, right?
Yeah. The creature with the big tongue and the little brain.
The
brain on their head and everything. Yeah, that's a liquor.
I'm surprised it was actually in this movie. I thought it only came in late.
I don't know what it is with Resident Evil movies, but when it comes to, because the liquor they are a dangerous creature. They are one of the dangerous creatures. From what I've heard from retrospective videos and stuff, they're one of the easier enemies like things like the hunters and like the like the big guys like Mr. X and everything, they're way more powerful and dangerous than the liquor. But with every Resident Evil movie, they always do the liquors. Because when I was watching the trailer, because I actually did do, because the trailer like for the new movie popped out of nowhere and I didn't know about it, and I'd watched the trailer. Then obviously I did a post on our Instagram page and everything. Follow us, shout out.
Shameless promotion, self promotion.
Cinema Suitcase essay, shout out. But yeah, when I was watching the trailer, they even in the reboot, they have there's a liquor now that the characters are gonna have to fight. And I'm just like, these film guys, they just love the liquor.
They love the liquors.
They think it's the best design ever or something. I don't know.
Oh well, it's iconic, I guess.
Yeah, it is iconic, but yeah.
So, shall we move on? Because like we're kind of missing the whole corporate espionage point of the discussion.
Yeah, we should get to the corporate espionage. So. Basically, there's a squad. There's Alice, and then there's 3 survivors. There's Alice. There's the guy that's her make believe husband. Obviously, as the cover story, because him and Alice, they're basically these security guys, and they're supposed to basically keep the mansion as like a cover story, so that Umbrella can have their underground facility and kind of like
work in peace
without people like noticing this land not being used or whatever and everything like that. There's the 2 of them, and then there's this other guy that just like shows up or whatever, and then later we find out that him and his sister, because his sister's one of the office people we see in the beginning who gets infected obviously with this virus when the outbreak initially happens. And then he and his sister were actually working to try and expose Umbrella and to get the information out. And then Alice keeps having flashbacks that she clearly was the contact that the sister was in communications with, and she was saying like, I'll give you everything, this and this,
passwords
that,
and locations and stuff like
locations, that. Security codes, the works and everything like that. And then at one point there's actually a thing of like, was she the one who betrayed the sister or whatever, but it wasn't. It was actually the dude.
It was the dude. Romeo.
Yeah, Romeo. Because the thing is, they both have amnesia, and he's actually kind of a nice guy. He always helps the group, and he like even offers her his jacket when she's cold and everything like that. And I will say, this is the one thing I don't like. The one criticism that even with my like guilty pleasure like non-critic brain on, this is the one thing I do notice and I do criticize. Because obviously we find out that the make-believe, I can't even remember his name, the make-believe husband guy, he actually was the traitor. He was the one that basically stole the virus and like let it out, because obviously he probably got hired by like a rival corporation because they want to know what Umbrella's doing, everything like that. He wants to sell it to the highest bidder and that type of thing. And then it turns out he's the traitor. And when they're in that room, and then he suddenly remembers what he is, he grabs the pistol obviously before Alice can get to it. And that is the one thing I don't like. Okay, I understand that like he just gets back his memory, so he remembers kind of like what he was doing, and he's like, oh shit, yeah. If I sell these, I can get a massive payday or whatever. But what I don't like about it is that I feel like he should have had remorse. Because the thing is, okay, look, I understand he got back his thing, but he's spent time with these people throughout the thing, and obviously they've like been running from zombies together. He's been helping them, trying to like get past, and then he's seen people that were his friends like die and everything. So I feel like obviously when he gets his memories back, obviously we have to have a bad guy for this movie, so obviously he has to turn on them. But at the very least, I think there should have been like remorse. Like he should have just been like back away, because like when he holds the gun to that one guy, the guy tries to come at him, but he like holds the gun at him. He says like back away, I don't want to shoot you. It should have been that moment where like, look man, like back away, I will shoot you but I don't want to. He should have said something like that, but then he's got to be like a evil like type of guy and say like, oh I don't want to shoot you, I'd rather save the bullets for the zombies.
I see what you mean. His switch over is too instantaneous, it's
too instantaneous, and he should have I understand that again, and like I said again, I understand that he has to switch over because obviously we need a bad guy for this, we need an actual antagonist for this movie, But he should have had more remorse and more like like second guessing, like, oh, should I do this? Should I not?
Yeah, he really should have, because he
like,
built fresh relationships with these people.
Okay, or maybe have a point where like because there's that bit when he's when he's obviously in the train room and he's running towards the train and he has to obviously get the antivirus injected himself with it. There should have been like a moment where like he stops and like he looks back and he's sort of like, you can see like, he's kind of second guessing his decision. Yeah. Obviously he still decides to do the selfish thing, but there's at least that moment where like he's considering it.
He considers it. Yeah, I agree.
He's at least, and like maybe like have a close up on his face where like he's like at least like you can see there's regrets in his face.
I totally agree with you. I understand where you're coming from, because his transition is too sudden and harsh. Like he doesn't think about everything he just went through with these people at all. Yeah. He's just like, oh, I guess I'm the bad guy now. And he grabs his Magic Mike pop gun.
The only one that he offers is maybe Alice to come with him, but that's only because the two of them slept together before obviously they got the amnesia, the amnesia gas. So they have him and her have a bit of a relationship. So that's the only reason why he offers her. But he's gonna be like an evil villain, like, come with me, you can have whatever we want to with this money.
And then she chucks the ring back after he's killed again.
Yeah, she
killed that fool. I didn't like him. I'm glad he got wrecked by the liquor at least. Yeah. Because for a long time you see the liquor and then I'm like, okay, you're like a boss fight at the end, aren't you?
Yeah, you're clearly a boss fight at the end.
I didn't know they changed based on like the DNA they consume. Like, is that a game thing as well? Because they always just look the same.
The thing is, again, I haven't played a lot of the earlier games. Even when I did play the RE1 remake, I actually got stuck on a puzzle. I'm stuck on this one puzzle, and I don't know. I think the problem is I got frustrated with the game, because the problem is the old Resident Evil games, they're very good. They're very good games. They're like really interesting. They've got great gameplay and everything, but they're very frustrating to play. Especially if you're like a newer generation gamer like we are. Like they're very frustrating because they're very difficult to play. Even when you play on like the easy difficulty or whatever, it's very challenging, and like you often, like a lot of the time, you're just going like that was bullshit.
Yeah, they're just janky, and I get what you mean. Yeah, sometimes it can be hard to get into.
So yeah, I do need to get back to the RE1 remake, but like the later games I've played, they don't have liquors, because like Resident Evil 4, there's no liquors, and then like obviously Resident Evil 7, there's obviously got a new infected, because like each game there's not every single game, but there's a lot of different viruses in the Resident Evil universe, because like in Resident Evil 4 it's the Las Plaga virus, which is kind of like a variant of the T virus. It's like it does make like zombies and it does make people hostile, but it's different to the T virus. It's not the same as the T virus on the earlier games. And then like in Resident Evil 7 there's like the molded. It's like this mold. It's like this mold virus or whatever. So yeah, so each game is a different biohazard, because when I was watching, I think I was watching one of the Resident Evil videos with my one friend. My friend said to me like, "Oh yeah, is that a thing?" And I said, "Yeah, no, it's each game, like the games have different. There's different viruses in the Resident Evil universe, and
they are
all the type of stuff." Yeah.
Even I know that. I'm no expert on Resident Evil, but I know exactly. I know they have different variants. So he's basically the main villain. Do you think Red Queen is secondary villain? I never really saw her as a villain. She wasn't purely against them. She was just sort of doing her job.
I guess sort of like anti-hero, antagonist.
Yeah, she's definitely not a good guy, but...
She's not a good guy.
Can you really label her as a bad guy? She seems to be a bit deeper than that.
Yeah.
I am glad, though, that they didn't give into that... You know when the IT guy wants to whack himself with that one bullet he has left.
Yeah.
And he doesn't? I did not expect that. Because you just hear the distant, like, boom, and then you're like, okay, well, he's in the ground, cool. And then he's like, oh, hell no.
He's like shot with the zombies instead.
He's like, yeah.
Damn it.
You have to work for your food. I like that. And then he escaped.
Yeah.
What did he do? He
he went
along the pipe.
He was like sitting on top of that like pipe that obviously like bent down and everything, and the zombies were crawling up to him, and then he started crawling through the vents and everything like that.
That's when he redeemed himself for me. Because
I
was like, that's really cool, dude.
Yeah, the first Resident Evil is very good.
It is.
It's very good.
I also like when because Michelle Rodriguez, too much Left 4 Dead.
Too much Left 4 Dead, man.
Michelle Rodriguez when she almost dies a few times. She she's in like a whole crowd of zombies and she walks out fine.
Yeah, she gets bit
not fine, but like damn.
She gets bit like 5 or 6 times in this movie. She gets bit a lot.
Dude. And then she's so badass because when she goes out, you just hear the distant gunshots of in the empty tunnel and you hear like the water dripping. I thought that was so cool, that scene.
Yeah.
It I don't know, it was impactful for me. It had like a how do I say, like cathartic effect because she was at peace almost with the water dripping. It was really cool.
Yeah, in Monster Hunter there's this very Spider-esque thing, and then it there's like a lot of survival horror. There's even a part where she where she has like a lighter, she takes like a deodorant can and she like just flamethrowers these like spiders, which felt very like alien.
That is very alien.
With Ripley, everything like that. And just really cool. But then the point I was building up to was that even with like Alice as a character, she reminds me a lot of like Ripley, because like in the first film she's kind of like this, she's the survivor, but in the second one onwards she's the badass.
Yeah.
Because in the second one she's like freaking Batman, man. She's like a freaking
Batman,
full on badass. Not only because she has her powers are very on and off throughout the series, but even like with her fighting, like how she uses guns and everything, she's like full on like Batman.
John Wick.
She's like freaking Batman, John Wick type thing. Like she's like beast mode.
That's really cool. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say. Oh, do you want to finish the story and then I'll add my thematic take.
All right. Okay. But yeah, no. Basically, they eventually get out the room, and then by the time they get to the train, like Mr. Trader, idiot, he's dead already. And there's a bit where Alice, obviously has to go to get the case with all the vials from him, and then he wakes up as obviously as a zombie, and then she takes the axe and just
finishes him off. Fatality.
And she plays the line back at him where before he said I'm missing you already or whatever when he left them in there, and now she's like I'm missing you already, and before she slams his head
whacks
in.
him some nice full circle type feeling.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, basically they get on the train. They do eject Michelle Rodriguez. There is a point where she's just like this, and then they think that she's dead, but she's still alive. And then the liquor shows up. The liquor kills the tech guy. Michelle Rodriguez turns into a zombie. So Mr. Expose Umbrella dude, he shoots.
Mr. Expose Umbrella dude. You have these names for characters, dude. Like Friday the 13th, we had Mr. Pedo Stash Man.
Exactly. And from Granny, and I think we had to say Granny from the Hood.
Granny from the Hood.
Yeah. But no, the thing is, I don't know. The thing is, okay, maybe it's just the showman in me or whatever. But I'm always just kind of okay, I can't remember your name.
Yeah, so I didn't even hear a name, dude.
I can't remember any of your names except for Alice because she's badass. So I'm just gonna come up with names for you.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, Mr. Expose Umbrella Man, he shoots thing, and then the liquor's tongue attaches to Alice's foot, and then it's trying to pull her off, but then they're able to it hits against the train railing, and then obviously it sets on fire. Then they close the door and cuts the tongue, and then the thing just burns to death. Anyway, the two of them make it out, and then they're busy talking, and then suddenly because during the encounter, the liquor scratched, although I guess it's a hunter now because it transforms into a hunter, and the hunters are enemies in the Resident Evil games. The hunter scratches the dude's arm, and then when he's talking, he's freaking out, his arm's mutating or whatever. And then these guys in lab coats and hazmat suits show up. They knock out Alice. They take what's his face, put him on the table, and then the one guy drops a little hint of I want him in the Nemesis program. And we obviously know who Nemesis is in the Resident Evil series.
Mm-hmm. I know him.
Yeah.
I know he's a constant threat. He's always pursuing the stars.
Well, he's mainly just in Resident Evil 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Resident Evil 3's creature. Then they completely butchered him in the new remake.
New one coming out in a month or whatever.
No. I'm saying the Resident Evil 3.
Oh,
remake.
the game. Sorry.
Yeah, I was talking about the game. Sorry, not the movies. the Resident Evil 3 remake game, they butchered Nemesis.
Why? Like his design or his
No,
how he performs?
Not his design, it's how he performs, because like he's not. I think in the original game it was like there were I think a couple of scripted events, but for the most part it was completely random when he would show up and like stalk you, kind of like Mr. X in Resident Evil 2.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the remake, but the problem is with the remake, they were so lazy with that remake. Like Resident Evil 2, they did all the groundwork, they did all the hard work, and then with Resident Evil 3, just like, whatever, it's fucking, we don't care. We hate this game anyway. I don't know. Well, the only reason why we remake is because fans will freak out if we don't. So, yeah, because like he all the encounters that you have with him are scripted. None of them are like randomized or anything like that. And yeah, I don't know. They did Nemesis dirty in that movie. And even in Angry Joe's angry review for the game, they make fun of Nemesis. Not because they're not making fun of Nemesis as a character. They're just making fun of how they butchered Nemesis in that remake game. Okay, again, I haven't played it, but I've watched extensive Let's Plays. I've watched like extensive reviews that go into detail about everything. So, okay, again, I haven't played it, so I don't have the same opinion status as somebody who actually has played through the game. But again, as an outsider looking in, they butchered him. Especially when I used to get glimpses of my dad playing Resident Evil 3 and then fucking Nemesis bursting through the walls and everything like that. Nemesis was scary. Mm-hmm. And he had like the rocket launcher. And then I remember in the Resident Evil... Okay, well, they did sort of do that in the game, but I remember in Resident Evil 3 there was actually a secret way to beat Nemesis where every time... Okay, when you encounter him, you can knock him down. It just takes a lot of ammo and you have to really put a lot of effort in to knock him down. And when you knock him down, you can actually search his body and you can pick up pieces, these like different pieces of a weapon. And then when you eventually get all the pieces, you can build a weapon that can actually kill him.
That's cool. Nice.
In the original, as far as I remember, in the original PS1 Resident Evil 3.
Nice.
I don't know if that's Resident Evil 3 or Resident Evil 2. I'm mixing because obviously Resident Evil 2 has Mr. X and Resident Evil 3 has
Nemesis.
Nemesis, yeah.
Do you actually see Nemesis later?
Yeah.
Does it play into the movies or do they forget about it? Okay.
Yeah, they do. The second movie has Nemesis.
Okay, cool.
Let's just say they did okay, in my opinion, they did Nemesis very well.
Okay, well then that's good. So it wasn't like a cliffhanger type loose end of the story. They actually followed it up in the later movies as well.
Well, yeah, because obviously Paul W. Anderson, he dropped that little hint saying, "Oh yeah, if we get a sequel, Nemesis."
And the fans were like, "Oh, we have to have a sequel."
Yeah, exactly.
Which is great. Okay, cool.
All the fans are basically just going like, "Fuck, screw this movie! I hate it."
Yeah, I don't know, fans.
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah, so that's basically the wrap up of the story, basically. So
and then Alice has that whole underground section again.
Oh yeah. Then obviously Alice wakes up in this like operating room or whatever, or this observation room, and then she lockpicks the door, like this electric lock with like this pin. And then Yumi was saying like, she spec'd into lockpick. Her lockpicking skills very hard.
Yeah, I know, dude, because that always works.
Yeah, she did. So she breaks out, and then she obviously comes out of the raccoon facility, the building, and then she sees that, obviously the raccoon outbreak has happened and Raccoon City's now been infected by the virus. So then there's like these cars and all like ruined. There's all like this ash everywhere. And there's like
it was concentrated to that street. Remember,
devastated or whatever. And then there's that really cool shot of like where she leads into the police station. She pulls out the shotgun. And there's that thing where she like reloads the shotgun and then like it zooms out. Everything.
It zooms out far.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's pretty much the plot. Should we go? What's the next segment? I'm so rusty, it's been a while.
Well, the next segment, we pretty much just give our final thoughts, our scores, then obviously shots.
Well, I think we do shots we liked first.
Eventually shots we like, and then, yeah.
Okay, so, shots I like. Should I just segue into that?
Yeah, just segue into that.
Okay, shots I like. There's two that come to mind right now. The first one is when Michelle Rodriguez jumps down to fix the power. She has the torch in her mouth.
Oh, yeah, the torch in her mouth, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, she jumps down and she does like a superhero landing, and the camera follows her, and then a couple of seconds later she stands up and it gets up with her. That was really cool. I like that.
That was very cool.
And the second shot I liked would be when she's like, "I miss you already," and she whacks bad guy with the axe, and then she chucks the ring, and his hand is there with the ring.
Yeah, he obviously still has the ring on his finger, but then her ring is like just on the ground.
Yeah, I like that. That was a really cool shot. Those are definitely my highlight shots.
Yeah, I've got. Don't know if I have too many I like shots again. Well, you mentioned pretty much some of the ones that I liked. I think the one I really do like is I like the shot of like when she wakes up at the beginning. Also, when she wakes up at the beginning, they have that zoomed in, ultra close shot of her eye. That's very beautiful.
Yeah, that is true because I do remember now. I thought about it last night. I was like, this is actually a nice shot.
Yeah.
So you're right. Add that to my list.
Shot. But yeah, overall the cinematography is just very good.
Yeah, it's pretty.
It's serviceable, but
yeah, serviceable.
Well, okay, I don't mean serviceable as in like
harsh.
I'm not criticizing them or anything like that. I'm just saying like it's good cinematography. You really enjoy it, and yeah,
it gets the job done.
It gets the job done.
Yeah, pretty good.
That's kind of what I meant by it.
Okay, I think I'd like to say. Do you think? Remember in film theory we covered the female gaze.
Yeah,
and the objectification of women in cinema. I think that plays here a lot, especially with Alice. That poor woman is like barely dressed the whole movie.
Well, I don't know. Thankfully, Mila Jovovich, because she's also kind of done a lot of modeling work in the past. I follow her on Instagram, and recently she did this Victoria. I don't know what like model like fashion runway it was, but she was on some fashion runway and she was like walking down the runway in some like fancy dress or whatever. So she does a lot of modeling work, and she is kind of one of those like very few like women in Hollywood that isn't afraid to show her body, and she's not like no, I'm not doing any boob shots in this movie or anything like that, or I'm going back to my trailer. She's not like one of those type of actresses.
Okay, well, fair enough.
I guess for her, she doesn't really mind. Okay, I've never met her obviously, but I think for her she doesn't really mind it. But I do get you. There is a lot of objectifying, especially at the beginning when she wakes up in the shower and she's like lying in that like sexual position with the
curtain,
the shower curtain barely covering her, and she's like like waking up and she's doing off. There's definitely a lot of that.
I thought about it. I thought it was
cool. A lot of those like poses and stuff like that. Especially, and then also when she wakes up.
Yeah, when she wakes up
basement. She's basically she's got these like two pieces of paper basically.
Yeah, like a
loosely tied to her body.
A serviette.
Like serviette. Basically.
Yeah, I don't understand the point of that.
Yeah, she gets captured a few times throughout the series. Whenever she wakes up, she always got this like paper thing. And I'm just like, what is it with the umbrella and this like paper? Like I think can't they have like a proper hospital gown or whatever?
Something like that. Yeah. Jeez. Okay, so yeah, that's something I really wanted to highlight. They really play into the male gaze here a lot.
The male gaze here a lot.
I guess also back in the early 2000s, the stigma was that only guys really play games, and we all just perv over these gamer female characters, right?
Yeah.
Which is a lot less true today. There's as many female gamers as there are dudes.
Yeah, I subscribe to a lot of different female gamer YouTubers. The Spear Hunter, the Spear Hunter, she's very cool. She does a lot of the series that she really likes is like Devil May Cry, Resident Evil's her favorite franchise ever. She likes Devil May Cry, Resident Evil, Final Fantasy and everything like that. But she's done a lot of like super deep retrospective videos of like almost all the Resident Evil games. The next one that she has upcoming is the Resident Evil 4 one, which I'm so excited for. I'm so hyped to watch that one because I love Resident Evil 4. But no, she was like super into Resident Evil. She obviously grew up as a kid and playing those games. And Jill Valentine from Resident Evil 1 and 3, she's her favorite character in all of fiction. And then obviously there's another YouTuber I watch, Melanie Mack, who obviously she wasn't into the Resident Evil series, but for her she grew up with Tomb Raider and she kind of looked up to Lara Croft as like her idol, as like a role model for her growing up as a little girl and as a kid and everything. So there are female gamers, but again, like in the 2000s, there was that stigma of
only lonely guys play games.
Play games.
Yeah,
don't play games.
I guess that the target audience back then subconsciously was more steered towards men and guys.
Yeah,
so
obviously.
I guess you can say that it was more prevalent back then.
And also it was the 2000s. You could get away with like shots like that. Now if they did it like the movie would go like #cancel this movie.
Dude,
I love Keyboard Warriors.
I love the cheesy vibe. I hate the word cheesy. That word I hate it. But it's the most suitable for this movie. They had that like the shocked reactions and then the camera like zooms in really quickly. Like I love these really types of and like action shots of like really quick paced camera and I love the whole movie for
it
that.
stinks of the early 2000s.
It really-
But like, when you watch it, you just go like, oh, thank you. This is like so much nostalgia right now.
Dude, it really is. I took it to like I really warmed up to the movie because of that. You could just see it was made with the 2000s kind of effects and with love. And I was like,
exactly.
oh, this movie's cool.
Yeah, I love the Resident Evil movie series, but yeah, no, like you said, there is a lot of that like male gaze with her and everything like that. But yeah, no, she's a badass and everything.
Yeah, no, she is. She is.
She's a badass character and everything. But yeah, and then so and then Apocalypse, the second one, Resident Evil Apocalypse, basically picks up exactly where the first one left off, where she's like on that street with a shotgun. So it's pretty cool and everything like that. And and then I do actually want to ask you something, because the thing is, I didn't want to commit. I thought to myself, okay, no, I don't want to commit to this yet, because I don't know how Kevin's going to react to this movie. Because I didn't know if it was going to be a situation where you're going to like it just like I do, or if you were going to be like the harsh critic, like, oh, I hate this movie sucks and everything like that.
Well, it doesn't suck, but okay, yeah.
Well, yeah. I was thinking that maybe every 3 or 4 months or whatever, we do one of the Resident Evil movies, because obviously there's 6 of them. So yeah, I mean most series like
well, then if you do 6 by 12,
yeah,
it'll be an episode every 2 months.
Yeah, episode every 2 months of Resident Evil.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it sounds
that.
Arduous and painful, but sounds fun too. So we can do that if you want.
Okay, we don't have to put it like that. Yeah, but because the thing is, when it comes to franchises, like a lot of franchises, I want to be very picky and selective with which movies we do. Like Friday the 13th, mainly just because there's just so many of them. Like, good lord.
Yeah, wow.
There's so many Friday the 13th, and obviously there's so many James Bond movies for us to eventually do and everything like that. And like Halloween, I want to be very selective because a lot of the sequels are just terrible. But I think the 2 franchises where I want to do an episode on every single movie in the series is Scream, and I want to do Resident Evil. Those are the 2 franchises where I want to do all of them.
Okay.
All of them in-depth episodes. So maybe like every 2 or 3 months or whatever, we do one Resident Evil movie or whatever.
Okay, I can commit to that. Sure. Yeah, let's do it.
Alright, cool.
Every 2 months we'll do a Resident Evil. We'll have to do them sequentially though. In order.
Yeah, obviously sequentially
in order
and everything like that. And I'll give you a few months break, obviously, and then we'll pick up where the next one left off. And
that's fine. Yeah.
And you should, you should be okay, because you at the beginning with the Resident Evil sequels, at the beginning of every movie, there's always a voiceover from Alice catching you up on everything that happened in the previous.
Okay,
films.
well that's gonna help.
So it's not going to be a sense of where you're going to have to rewatch all the movies beforehand before you can watch the next one in our series or whatever. Because I don't care if these videos get 0 views. Okay, I want to do all the Resident Evil movies.
With me. Alright. Okay.
I want to do the series justice.
Okay, it's fine. No, let's do it. I can accept.
Alright, cool. Alright, so yeah, and then
final thoughts? Well, no, that's maybe jumping the gun. Sorry, you wanted to say?
No, I was gonna say okay, yeah, let's do our final ratings, and then after that we can just do a quick talk about the new reboot that's coming up.
Okay.
So, what score would you give this movie? I'm thinking about it actually. I think I'm gonna go with an 8.
An 8.
Yeah, because I think realistically it's like a 7 or a 6, but like again it's a guilty pleasure movie for me, so it gets a guilty pleasure point. So for me, I think it's an 8.
Okay,
it's not my favorite of this series, but I think if I had to rank the top 3 out of the 6 films, I think number 1 is Extinction, which is the 3rd one. Number 2 would be Resident Evil 1, and then number 3 probably would be Resident Evil Afterlife, which is the 4th one. Afterlife is pretty good.
Okay. Alright. So that'll be it for you. For me, I was thinking I'll give it like a 6. Yeah. Or a 6 or a 7, as you said. That's what it really deserves. It's not a guilty pleasure for me. I really liked it, so I'll give it a 7 definitively. But I'm not sure I would go back to it, every couple of months like I would with Jurassic Park or something like that.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? I still like it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, no, I get you.
But I would give it a 7.
Yeah, I watch these movies every now and then because they're guilty pleasure movies for me. And again, especially when I'm like really depressed and everything, especially these last 2 months, these movies are always like good for me because they just let me switch my brain off and just like escape.
Enjoy something, yeah.
Escape and just have fun and enjoy something.
Exactly, nothing wrong with that at all, my dude. Yeah, 7.
So, alright, cool.
I really liked it, and it was fun to finally break into the cinematic universe of the Resident Evil thing? Because I know about the games, but never the films.
Yeah, the movie is pretty much this, or at least this specific series of movies, because you have to remember there's two different series of movies. There's the live-action Resident Evil movies, the Paul W. Sanderson ones, and there's also the animated CG ones. And the animated ones obviously follow the actual characters from the video games and focus on them rather. So I'm sure fans of the video games probably like those movies more. And the live-action Paul W. Sanderson films, those are like, it's kind of its own separate, it's its own pocket universe. Our pocket universe has its own continuity or whatever. And yeah, that's pretty much, that's just how I look at it. I just look at it as, this is a different interpretation, this is not the games. If I want the games, if I want the story from the video games, I'll go play the video games.
Exactly. That's why I admire that he changed it up a bit and not a play-by-play of the games.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So I give him his due. Well done to him.
Yeah.
Cool. You wanted to talk about the Raccoon City.
So obviously this trailer popped the other day. I did that post on our Instagram page. I watched the trailer and just to give some thoughts on it, I really like it. I think it looks really cool. It's still got like that B-movie, guilty pleasure film type of vibe to it, just like these movies do, which I like. So I'm excited to watch it. But obviously the director's even said that he's a big fan of the video games and he wants to do the films justice. So he obviously wants to go in the opposite direction of Paul W. Sanderson. Paul W. Sanderson was like, no, people have played the video games, it's going to be too predictable, we're doing our own thing. And this guy, the new director, well, let me actually get his name before I butcher it. I'll just go search up his name. But he basically wants to go in the direction of, no, we're going to do these films justice, we're going to be faithful to the original story, all that type of stuff. And by the looks of it, it's going to be sort of like doing both Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 parallel. Because the thing is, in the first Resident Evil game, it's Chris and Jill, obviously in the Spencer mansion, and then the second game, it's Leon and Claire in Raccoon City, in like the RPD police station and everything like that. And then Resident Evil 3 it goes back to Jill again during the Raccoon City outbreak. So I think they're probably going to do the first two games like parallel to each other.
Yeah, sort of group them together.
Yeah.
Okay. So you look forward to it, is your point? Yeah.
The director is Johannes Roberts. That's the director for the new Resident Evil reboot. So Johannes Roberts, he wants to go. Look, I hope I'm pronouncing his name properly, but he wants to basically go in the direction of I want to be more faithful to the series.
That's fair enough. Okay.
But it looks pretty good casting. The actress who plays Jill, she's that. You remember Ant-Man the Wasp, that ghost girl, the girl with like the ghost powers and everything?
I love that actress.
Yeah, that actress, she's playing Jill Valentine. She's Jill Valentine. Jill Valentine does show up in the series throughout, and she's actually she actually shows up in the next movie in Apocalypse. So it'd be interesting to see that, but get your opinion on that. But yeah, anyway, so the actress from Ant-Man the Wasp, she's Jill Valentine. You won't know him, but the guy who played Firestorm, the original Firestorm in the Arrow TV series, like in the Flash and like Arrow and like and that type of stuff. He's playing Robbie Amell. He's playing Chris Valentine. Chris Redfield.
Chris Valentine.
Chris Redfield. I'm not sure the actor who plays as Leon. He's a completely new guy to me. And then the actress who played the main character in Haley in Crawl, which is one of our favorites, she's Claire Redfield. I think that's a perfect casting.
That is a perfect cast for her. She's also in Pirates of the Caribbean, the fifth one. She's in Dead Men Tell No Tales.
Like, actually cool. I didn't watch the fifth one.
Yeah, no, I like her in that movie. She's cool. Yeah. So I look forward to this film. I think it has a nice sort of elegance to it. I don't know why. I don't know if that's really the way to describe it, but there's something that looks pretty genuine about it.
Yeah.
Like it's not like a cash grab, you know.
Yeah.
It's a unique take on something.
Well, I guess also because they got a filmmaker who actually cares about the video games and wants to do it justice.
True. They even had that like, when the zombie turns around and looks at them, that is from I think the first Resident Evil, or one of the earliest games.
I think it was the first. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, I know exactly which shot. Yeah, I think it's the first one.
I think it is.
There's that close-up shot of the zombie's head, and then
he turns. Yeah.
You just see this like dead zombie face.
Yeah, that's an iconic moment for a lot of gamers. With the first time they experience that, you need to change your pants. So the fact that they even reference it in the trailer, I'm like, nice. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, so obviously this film, this film could probably be very much like directly compared to the first film in this obviously Resident Evil series, because obviously it's about the Spencer Mansion and about the outbreak and everything like that. And the second one is actually the actual outbreak in Raccoon City. I always love that name, Raccoon City.
I don't. It's really weird. Like of all names, Raccoon City. It's just weird. Okay, I let it go because honestly, no matter how much I complain or go against the grain, it's not going to change, so I just let it go. But Raccoon City, the name, always bugged me.
But so I'm very glad that we did this. We did this this movie. When you were starting this, again, like I said, with a bunch of movies, when you start this podcast, this is one of the ones I wanted to do. Because I want to do the series justice. Because a lot of people who do, a lot of the videos that are out there that talk about the series are always trashing these movies and say that they're terrible and they break it apart and everything. So I wanted at least one positive video for the series, like one positive review series and positive outlook on it and everything like that. Because again, it's not Schindler's List, it's not Citizen Kane in terms of storytelling. It's purely a guilty pleasure action horror franchise, and I love it. So
exactly. No, I'll give you your due. It is fun and quirky in its own ways, and I don't want to bash it. I have no reason to bash it.
Yeah. And we've got our Resident Evil Final Chapter wallpaper on the thing, and we got my Blu-rays. That collection's got the first 4 movies, because that's obviously when those were the ones that were out at the time. And then I've got the 6th one on Blu-ray as well. So I just need to hunt down the 5th one, Retribution. That's the only one. That's the last Blu-ray I need to hunt down. And then also as another quick side, these things actually got a 4K remaster recently.
Oh wow! Well, there you go. See, that just proves there's a love for them. There's a community love.
Yeah. There was actually a full 4K remaster for all of them. Which is very cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it deserves it.
Yeah, it definitely deserves it.
Cool. Yeah, better than Leprechaun.
Yeah, better than Leprechaun.
Him and I were having this huge tangent yesterday.
Yeah, we were having a brawl.
We were ranking our slashes.
A bribe by the girl, and then we were talking about slashes we hated. I kept bringing up the jokes about how you hate Chucky, and then you were like, Leprechaun, I hate Leprechaun.
I don't even know if he's a slasher, I just hate him.
I think he can be considered a slasher, but yeah.
Never seen his movies, just don't like him. Oh yeah, and a braai is like a barbecue for foreign listeners.
Yeah, for Americans out there, it's basically a barbecue, and for any Australian viewers out there, it's basically what we call a barbie.
Barbie. That's that racist term. It's not racist, but it's a stereotype.
Well, no, I think it's also just it's just a term that they have for it.
I think so.
Because I think every country has not every country, but a lot of countries have their own different term for like a barbecue. Because for us it's like a braai.
It's just a braai.
Thanks very much for tuning in, guys.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoy this.
I was a bit quiet this episode. I wasn't really sure what to say, but I like to build on your sheer knowledge on this series. So hopefully going into it, I'll do my homework, and then as the series goes on, we'll talk more.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But thanks very much for watching and listening, guys. If you have any feedback, please leave a comment. Please like, share, and subscribe. And then if you're one of our audio listeners and you have any feedback, please leave us a review, because we're always trying to improve the channel. And thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.